I am ready.
Okay, fire away.
Okay. This one is called the test. The real test in your life is how you can stand the everyday battle of dilemmas. You need to have a good persona and profile to overcome some of the desperate things. Life, finances, relationship, bereavement, and keeping a good mental health. The way life is going, throwing all kinds of things at you, it's a pity that some fall and falter. It's been very difficult for me to sustain a good balance, especially when you are hit for six, a majority of times. I honor the counseling of my grandmother when she was alive. She dedicated her whole life into making me happy. She is very instrumental in great sayings and facts of life. The greatest thing in our life is how we banter with each other and show respect. It is not hard to be an example, but people are always looking up to someone. Stay strong and bold and keep on doing the things you enjoy most.
It's a good lesson there, Steve. Thank you. Some good advice as well. Have you got any others for us?
Yeah, this one's called Suit.
Suit, okay.
Yeah. Sundays arrive and I prepare myself to go to church. I put on a black suit with a white shirt and black tie, which is really making me look dapper. I prepare to go and get the tram to Mitcham Junction and meet up with my sister-in-law, Marcia. She drives a Range Rover. On the way to church, she's singing songs with catchy references. She's a very articulate, wise and clever lady. Just before my nan died, she spoke to Marcia and told Marcia that one thing she must promise her is to look after Steve. It's been a very challenging time since my nan died 3 weeks before I married my wife, Angela. At church, the ministering commences and the praise and worship team sings songs. And the organist Christiana plays good sounds. The fashion today is a black and white. The fashion today in service is black and white. Whenever we have Holy Communion, breaking of bread and drinking of wine. This is an orderly way. Pentecostal churches are very similar in their doctrines. So today I have looked really, really dapper in my suit. Thank you very much. Sorry about the hesitations.
Well, don't worry about that. Thank you for taking us to your place of worship, Steve. That was very good. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
You're quite welcome. Welcome.
Right, now we're going to move down to either the Isle of Wight or Chichester. I'm not sure. Steve.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, George. Hello, everyone. This poem I'm going to read is based on a scurrilous poem that was translated in 1590, and then what I'm reading is my adaptation of the 1590 translation. I think the narrative you'll get as we go along, so no more needs to be said, hopefully. Marlowe's translation of Ovid's Amoris 2.19, circa 1590, adjustments and additions by Rushton, 2023. We scorn things easy, nuisance need, as lovers we're as diners in the restaurant of unrequited bloody greed, where waiters make you sit and wait, ignore you, bore you with their talk of hors d'oeuvre antipasta pork, or entrecote of steak or duck, or other courses just as coarse, a piece of meat, some leaves and sauce, and then you sit and wait and drink some wine, anticipating diving in, but by the time it comes you're drunk and your ambitions sadly shrunk. Scenarios like this occur the more when food and love alike become a bore. Corinna, lover, knows this well and finds a way to please me well, repeatedly with headaches lying, luring, tempting, tantalizing, seems to be in love with me, but then ignores, despises me. Repeatedly she takes offense, and doing wrong makes show of innocence, and having riled me nourishes with words and actions apt for lust, to make me wish I could, I must. But then she goes and all is lost. My newfound lover, listen well and take good care of me as well. Chastise me, don't say yes, say maybe. On your doorstep let me sit distraught, while suffering your cold and frosty thoughts. Like this my love could last 1,000,000 years. Delight me, blow away my constant cares. A love considerate annoys, as too much rapt attention cloys, who covets easy things, takes leaves from woods, and drinks the waters in surrounding floods. The secret gardens where the sweetest fruit is kept, beside a silver fountain where the cuckold wept. When lovers drink and later mock, full long they'll reign. In causing pain they'll feel less pain. Whatever happens, always harm is done. What flies I follow, and what follows me I shun. Contented lovers, sitting happily at home or at a poetry event, take heed of my advice, ignore the knocking at the door, the mobile phone, ignore the friend who craves a tete-a-tete. Two heads will kiss and bodies seldom wait. Reflect on this, it cuts you to the quick. Deceits cannot a lack of conscience prick. Take what's free is contradictory, to steal a heart that's not is clarity. So, happy husband, keep your other better, better for my scheming nature, better or for worse, remember, I may lose my interest in her, or in him, oblivious to gender. Suffer what no lover can endure, my love will like it, will an end procure. But drop your guard, and I will falter too. In taking leave, you leave me less to do. Shall I by you be never so excited, fail to feel the night's blunt knife inserted? Lo, the husband grown a lazy bore. By your defaults, my joys deferred, ignored, or worse, defeated and destroyed. Deflated lovers crave a restlessness. To please me, try your best to curb my recklessness.
Oh, well, it's amazing how you can synthesize and bridge like 5 centuries, and it's the rhythm is lovely. Thank you, Steve. I enjoyed that. It's really good. Amazing.
Slightly discombobulated because I thought I heard Marla, and then I realised it was Marlowe, not Gustav,
Yeah.
but Christopher.
No, it's
Yeah,
more words of music, I think. There.
Yes, I could fit some Mahler in there. Mahler and Marlowe, yes. Good.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you got the nice ambience with the sort of pubby type reference in with Marlowe, because he was a bit of a lad, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Right. So, unfortunately, we haven't got Ruth yet, but we do have, fortunately, Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. Are you still muted? You're still muted, Lorraine. Need to unmute. You need to unmute your mute button. Lorraine can't hear you yet.
I'm mute. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You're okay now.
Yes,
Good,
yes. My
good
PC
rehearsal though.
crashed
Good
a little while
rehearsal.
ago. I never thought I would be here because it said it will restore it. I wanted to restore it, but I didn't know how long. I waited an hour, and it's just the message. I messed around with all sorts of things, and somehow or other I got back a little bit.
Very good. It's lovely to have
It
you.
stopped me
And
doing all sorts of things, scanning and all sorts of things before. Anyhow, I'll read the most recent one that I did. It isn't marvelous, but anyhow,
okay, thank you, Lorraine.
about the coronation and what have you. And I
Right.
called it "Pestered by Ghouls." He had a few amours on the way, but she stood out at the end of the day. They both had dark, distressing, rough falls, and they tended to be pestered by ghouls. His sons keenly observed how loyal as the Queen Consort strove to be serene, but no praise spouted from the heirs royal would allow their sly stepmother to glean. All knew the monarch was keen first at adultery. Innocent Diana was his junior by light years. To the world, it was grim, but no concealed mystery, as TV deluged viewers with torrents of their tears. His Highness with Di were two forced thoroughbreds. I've just got to make this, I'll read it this way. His Highness with Di were two forced thoroughbreds in harness, while Lady Tryon and Mrs. Parker Bowles wanted turns. Tanga split with her Baron Lord and whole brood regardless, while Camilla believed deemed for her the fickle king yearns. The heir might view his dad's new spouse as a traitor, and her constant staunch vibes show he's a hater. But he has to stand high and bring Prince Harry nigh, or at least try, charge his wife not to cry, and persuade Meghan, his duchess, sometime later, to help her nightcap with the usual sedator. So that's what I think as far as that. But I don't think William is that bad. I'm just going to try and get back to the Zoom thing.
So, is
yeah.
Charlie's not your darling then?
Charles, no, he's normal, the same as anybody, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a shame though, because I think, you know, she was very young and naive and innocent, and he was a lot older, and he should have gone. Yeah, he should have been by her side. And that's what I think, really and truly, because he had a long sowing the seeds before he married her. So I think he's a bit nasty. But
well, the establishment has its own rules, I'm afraid. So
not a gay cavalier either, is he?
yeah, I'm going to the audiologist tomorrow, so I'll hear better.
Okay, Lorraine, but you read well. Thanks very much. It's interesting
Well, I did,
hearing all you're
tend to
reminiscing of all
suffer a
his
lot.
various dalliances. I'd forgotten about half of them, so thank you. Jim, you ready to go?
Yeah, okay. I'll read 3 poems. The first one's, they're all about unhappy love, which I know about a bit. Songs of cohabitation gone wrong. These are sad songs, but somebody has to sing them. I sing of dissension between spouses, of hair knotted around plug holes, of raised and unraised toilet seats. I sing of domestic paranoia, of tubes of toothpaste oozing malice, open-topped and improperly squeezed. I sing of desolate bedrooms, of headaches and chronic fatigue, of tentative taps on the shoulder and unrequited needs. And I sing of adult
You're muted.
Jim, we've lost your volume. You've gone on mute for some strange reason. You've got up to take it from the toothpaste again. We've lost you. Jim.
I put my thing on the,
Yeah, take it from the toothpaste squeeze in.
Right.
Great line, George. Take it from the toothpaste.
Yeah, toothpaste, right. Toothpaste. Oh, yeah. I'll start from the beginning, actually. I sing of dissension between spouses, of hair knotted around plug holes, of raised and unraised toilet seats. I sing of domestic paranoia, of tubes of toothpaste oozing malice, open-topped and improperly squeezed. I sing of desolate bedrooms, of headaches and chronic fatigue, of tentative taps on the shoulder and unrequited needs. And I sing of adult videos and Viagra that is seldom used, of carefully hidden girly mags, of men who are never serious and women who are not amused. And I sing of some men's greatest dread, wives and girlfriends who absolutely refuse to wear stockings and high heels in bed. Of these things and much, much more I sing. Oh, how I sing. That's the first one of this sad trilogy. The next one's called Scarborough Unfair. I remember Scarborough, where you walked off and left me in your wake, trailing along the prom as you offered yourself to the wind and the froth-whipped sea. 2 ancient Yorkshiremen drank you in, roomy and defunct, they praised your beauty, dismissed me with voices just loud enough to be heard. My God, he looks a nasty piece of work. How I've since railed against those sour male crones, gargoyles of some overgrown temple of star-crossed love, crumbling in the spittled rain. And that last postcard you sent, a young girl sat on a rock staring at a ship's sail as it flickered in the dark, turbulent waves. Yes, I remember Scarborough, where you walked off and left me in your wake. Believe you me, I shan't be going there again. And the last one, it's basically about the same woman, this one. The woman I nearly married but didn't. Foolish questions. I'm on my way to her house, suitcase in hand, and wondering if I were to fall ethereal through the clouds of this English sky and pierce my soul's heart on a church steeple, would she be very sad indeed, or would she be secretly grateful? I suppose she were to tell me on seeing me read a horrible tabloid rag that I must first wash the newsprint from the fingers of my filthy hands before I eat a meal or touch a soft white skin. Would I really understand? Should I comply? Or just laugh at the severity of a command? And supposing, as I'm about to enter a house, she were to ask me, as per usual, to first remove my unsoiled shoes, should I this time act like a man and refuse? Should I swear and rage? But would I secretly be glad, so as to make good a coward's escape? I look up at the sky and a voice speaks to me from behind some clouds. I must have my own way. In all things, I gasp. Her voice is clear and loud. This is my house. I winced and try a dangerous probe. How long on average do your boyfriends last? Oh, she sighs. I see no point whatsoever in answering questions like that. By now the sun seems forever hidden. And as I stand outside the house, I pause. Am I truly, yes, truly, like some living corpse about to knock on the lid of my own coffin? And really, oh really, why am I asking questions like this?
Oh, the king of male angst. Wonderful, Jim, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to do more or are you waiting for part 2?
I'll wait for part 2.
Okay, they're very good. You just lift my spirits up, everyone's spirits up, I think. And then we're going to move to someone else who can lift our spirits up, which is Anthony's lovely poems. Anthony.
Right. I tried a dating app and I met a young lady. And this is a poem about meeting a young lady, okay? She arrived at 3 p.m. on the dot, coming anywhere other than the inquired Greater Manchester. Her northern accent was too hard to decipher. She could recognise a meter oak, but had no time for my Robinia. She inquired why guys were into figures after I mentioned my SL 120 record player. She was fiercely red-green, believing in mandated proportional representation. She had a German granny and could understand but not speak Deutsch. She could only thank me for the chat, not wishing for a relationship. My efforts thwarted, no green shoots.
Oh, Jim, I think you've got a rival. Thank you, Anthony. You got another one for us?
Yes, it's called Hessian Grey. I've entered it into a competition for City Lit. You are a bandage for the wounded, for the bloodied sanguine offerings, Hessian grey for well-turned-out soldiers in trench fields of the Flanders, gallant to a point of duty. Grey, I see you sulking, cowardly in marches, on weeping willow-lined roads, cherish that only once to storm away, unable to make amends for your dun colour.
Wow, your poetry is really coming on so well. You still going to your classes?
Yes, I do. I got one more lesson in intensive poetry.
You do.
I
It's
wanted
really
to go
doing well.
I wanted to go to the beginners class, but there were no takers for it, so it was cancelled.
Oh, it's a shame.
That was at Morley College.
Right. Anyway, lovely poems, Anthony. Thank you very much. You're going to be with us for part 2, I hope.
Yes, I will. I have to find some more poems upstairs.
Okay, don't worry about that.
Some older ones, so my style might be different.
We'll have a 10-minute tea break anyway, as usual. So now it's Vivian's turn. Hi, Vivian.
Hiya, hello. Well, like Lorraine, I've got 2 poems, and one is about the coronation, but I think it's a little bit softer, shall we say, than Lorraine's. But you know, what the hell? It doesn't matter. It hasn't got a title. I just called it "Written in the Evening of the 6th of May after the coronation." How will he feel now? The pomp and ceremony done for the day. He's performed his duties faultlessly, his queen by his side, with public support at its best, cheering crowds along the way. Let's hope he is now putting his feet up with a cup of tea and a piece of cake, the weighty crown now gone from his head. He can now sleep peacefully, no more ceremony for now. The only role he has to play is being king, and that's probably the hardest job of all. Okay. The other one's quite dark, and it's called Normality, whatever that is. I've forgotten what normal is in everyday life since mine went out of the window. I no longer know what is routine, run of the mill, the regular, average, everyday stuff. My head is a void, feels like I'm in permanent shock, emotion bank full, unable to take any more on board. At times like these, I notice the minutiae, blossom on the trees, birds on their branches, or dredge up a long forgotten memory. All I want is my head to clear, stop all the mush, be myself once more. I want life to be normal again, without me feeling like I'm going insane. Thank you.
That was a terrific one. That second poem is very moving. It nearly had me in tears.
Thank you. I'm not saying good that you nearly ended in tears, but
No, it was very moving. And also the first one, you actually looked at the king as a human being, which not many people do. And you know, you left the politics all aside.
Yeah, well, I know the Queen used to like to sit down and with a cup of tea and a piece of cake after a day out. So I'd like to think her son is the same.
Yeah, well, you left the politics on one side, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I don't do politics.
No. Evening, Ted. Evening, Jan. Nice to see you both. And we can move on now to, it's Martin's turn.
Okay, I've got 3. One is relatively recent and 2 from the book.
Thank you.
So this one is Mining the Archive. What makes us what we are? People, places, pain and pleasure mould us, shape us, raise or mar this living dust in stress or leisure. Driving past old schools, old homes, stirs latent feelings I can't articulate. Such tattered memory as comes will not weave a garment adequate to warm my frigid soul. Catharsis will not by this route arise, but still the whole, with satisfying words, may fruit in time. As we mine, one final test is set us, not ending with a line as limp as last week's lettuce. And this is perchance to dream. The solitary sleep less disturbed, according to a recent survey. Recent when I wrote the poem, of course. The single sleeper, islanded in seas of dream, floats wisely on his pillow night by night. No foot dare swirl the flow of cool meltwater stream across a mental plane, and purest white are all his thoughts and sheets. Would it were otherwise, wry castaways observe, incontinent content, no island's prize like warmth of breath, fine skin and nerve. Long live all restless pairing, twin-bedded middle age, body refreshed, but heart despairing, will be too desolate a hermitage. And this, oh, it's a villanelle. Reverie. I dream of love, and in that sullen stream come nymphs and satyrs mocking my repose. Some things are true, and some, deceiving, seem more worthy of a wandering mind's esteem. No heart can reckon where its fancy goes to dream of love. And in that sullen stream, where bloated carp disport with idling green, phlegmatic humours like cold eddies flows. Some things are true, though some, deceiving, seem to offer idols where love reigns supreme, although the vision crumbles as it slows. I dream of love, yet in that sullen stream, few lucid moments memory can redeem, as time's swift current bears them past my nose. Some things are true, but some, deceiving, seems desirable to animate my dream. Forgetting now which doors I have to close, I dream of love, and in that sullen stream, some things are true and some deceiving seem. Thank you.
Yeah, you certainly master all the classical forms of poetry, Martin. It's lovely to hear. Thank you. It's wonderful. Thank you very much. Heather, you ready?
This one is called From Catford to Catalonia. My trek has been long with a dashing of harsh, a rushing of rough, yet there is no regret. Once passed over sea, I restarted on foot, readying for challenges not met upon yet. My belly sounds hunger, throat empty and parched, yet I carried on still, through dry and through wet. A sit by a tree or a pause on a bench, a sprinkle of river to rekindle that wet. Like Babel's tower, I heard many a tongue, which sung at my ears and danced a duet. My hands did the signing until my message conveyed, just a wee cup of warm things and a hot bath to get. My depressions did dwindle on each passing day, a flannel of freedom washing all that was threat. The sadness now drifting from my once prison self, where all joy lay throttled by this demon that vexed. Enclosures of madness now so far away, expanded intentions and new yearnings now set. Many wars have I fought in the fields filled with dread. Now I stand just as strong as a ranking brevet. Ingesting the smalls, needing much less, have forced away gins and cigarettes. That's it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Have you got another one for us, Heather? Or is that, or part two?
I have one, but not by myself. So it's a lady called Elizabeth Bishop, who was born in 9/11. I'm trying to research poets, but not from the classical times.
Yes.
And I came across the Villanelle, which I will read in part two.
Okay, that'd be lovely. Another Villanelle, very good. So it looks like you, Ted. When you unmute, that's it.
I wasn't going to read because I'm just fed up reading the same old stuff. And
We're not.
I was going to be a guest.
Right.
But hang on. Well, I have got another book which I read from years ago, but it's packed away. I think you're going to have to suffer the usual old dribble.
Yeah, the Ted Shuffle, the Smith or Shuffle.
No, I won't give you that.
You won't give us a Smith.
No.
Oh.
Well, unless I'm doing it now.
You are doing it now by the looks of it.
All right. I'm busy painting the back of Dill Boy's van for one of my girls who's getting married, and he thinks it could be funny. And so I've enjoyed myself doing that all day. Okay, let's get Brick, as it happens to be in the top of the pile. Oh, Brick, look at you now, old and sad, stuck in earth. The years crammed together in close-knit neighbourhoods are gone. Brothers and sisters hewn from the same earth, shaped, moulded, kilned, delivered, stacked and laid side by side, end to end, supporting each other in a lifetime of stationary companionship. Restacking still kept you close, rain and wind your sense messengers of taste and colour from relatives in a lifetime of close proximity that is hard to find in human life. Your stability demonstrated for younger generation. You've never known loneliness. But no bother, someone is looking for you to complement their Victorian wall or garden path. Until then, I'll keep you dry and I'll keep you warm. How can one get sentimental about a brick? More bricks. Yeah, a cynical one out. Bricks show signs of skillful apprenticeship, but none of the foremen demanding more output, no bonus pay or winter's weather, short days and a weak wage, of the burn of sun branding third class on brows, or the thoughts of men building houses they would never afford. The romance of skilled craftsmen becomes coloured photographs in brochures, and a brick kiln, a gallery for artworks, while the developer counts his profit margins. We moralise about mortgages and undercut the vendor. Miserable load of human beings, aren't we?
Yeah, indeed.
Let's do this. Paradise Gardens. Dawn drifts across the rooftops, spreading fingertips on chimneys, sliding up the stairs to waken sleeping bodies from their beds. Between shoots, between the shoots of cultivation where dreams extends to farmland or to kew, past the secret garden where lovers intermingled in springtime dusk, past the pond of fantasy and the children's nursery where rhymes are read to babies on the grass, climbs the sculptured statue reminiscent of Picasso, and homemade hands of Rodin on the fence. Gently over Wembley, summertime, the Oval or Wimbledon, where games make children adults, turning adults back to children once again. By the brick-built Barbie, where everyone got arty at a recent party and bragged about the new extension, but forgot about the dilapidated shed it fled. The dawning of the morning wakes their expectations. Monday morning stagger down the stairs to electric light, meeting booming traffic, the ring of economics, the shudder of machines on factory floors that turn our back gardens into family paradise. There, little homely one. That's your lot.
It was indeed, Ted. Thank you very much.
Bugger off.
I might ask during the break for your technical expertise.
Oh,
Because Anthony has got it's just a question of whether you know any handymen who put on a door latch or something in his neighbourhood,
no,
which is West Norwood.
yeah, I could be handy, but I'm not.
No, not you personally.
No, I'm just
But
saying
no.
I wouldn't mind being handy at times, but I'm out of the game, sadly.
Yeah, I know it's sort of West Croydon, but it's not near West Norwood, so I don't think the guy would go up there. But Anthony's got an elderly neighbour, and it's some problem with screwing on a door latch on
Yes.
a gate.
There we go. Oh, Anthony.
Anthony here. Anthony
Yes,
here.
I've just heard him utter.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I don't do it anymore, Anthony. I wish I did.
Right.
And I don't have transport to get me from point A to point B.
Mm.
And I run out of energy so quickly that
Yeah.
I get on the bus and fall asleep.
I didn't envisage you could do it, so I just wondered if you knew someone, that's all. Anyway, better move on with the poems, I suppose. That's what
Sadly,
we're
I
here
know.
for.
Okay,
Yeah.
end of.
Right. Jan, did you want to read anything tonight?
Well, I did actually find one in the end.
Oh, great.
I didn't write it, but
It doesn't matter.
no,
We all do that at times.
yeah, I had to go and see I had to go and fly to see my sister in France last week or the weekend, and I've been building. I have this fear of being claustrophobic in a plane, and so I sort of did this fear of flying course and whatever, and it was really good actually. So I did manage to actually get on the plane, get to France, and get back again without freaking out. So I found this poem actually, and I thought it was quite nice. It's called Plain Poetry. This isolated claustrophobia inside, humans packed shoulder to shoulder, in collective agoraphobia, neighbours bashfully quiet and colder. This space among the masses I travel, and thank goodness I'm surrounded by clouds. Up here I can let my thoughts unravel amidst the solitude of faceless crowds. Above the clouds where daydreams come alive, I have the space to write without judgment. Towards heaven, I know my soul can survive. Dancing in the clouds, I see a movement. Up in the air, I've left the earth behind, with other aimless souls passing the time. Seems traveling by plane is where I find the inspiration for the perfect rhyme. That's actually. So, yeah. Oh dear.
You don't know who wrote it. You don't know who wrote that one. Then it was a non, was it?
No, it's just somebody. It says it's just somebody who's called not the poet he wants to be. So I don't know exactly who it is. It's just
A modest poet.
It's just a modest poet. Yes.
Yes, a modest poet.
An
Very
anonymous
good.
Poet.
Okay. Thank you, Jan. Well read. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. I enjoyed it. Oh, blimey,
Sorry, Ted? Oh, you muted, right. Peter, what do you have for us?
I'm going to read a couple of poems by Ivor Gurney,
Mhm.
1920s. April Mist. Dampness clings about me as I walk, and the sun but filters through high clouds unmovely, threatening rain. Leaf mould clings and the leafy drift below. But how the green has sprung in a single night, what sudden flood bears high the foam of May. Pear trees and apple trees grown twice as bright, and pinpoints grown to buds between day and day. And midnight. There is no sound within the cottage now, but my pen and the sound of long rain, heavy and musical. I must think again to find so sweet a noise, and cannot anyhow. The soothingness and deep-toned tinkle, soft happenings of night, in pain there's nothing better, save tobacco or long most looked for letter. The different roof sounds, house, shed, loft and scullery. And common things. The dearness of common things, beechwood, tea, plate shelves, and the whole family of crockery, wood axes, blades, helves, ivory milk, earth's coffee, the white face of books and the touch, smell, feel of paper, Latin's lovely looks, earth fine to handle, the touch of clouds when the imagining arm leaps out to caress grey worsted or wool clouds, wool, rope, cloth, old pipes gone warped in service, and the one herb of tobacco, the herb of grace, the censer weed of world, blue-fingered traced curves. So, Ivor Gurney.
He was also a composer.
Yes.
Spent a lot of his time, unfortunately, in a mental institution, didn't he? Poor chap.
He did.
Suffered in the First World War, I think. Great composer as well as a great poet.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
You're never, well, I wouldn't say you're never humble, but you always have a good opinion. Right. Sorry about that, Martin. That kind of came out all wrong. This is a poem that I started 15 years ago, and I suddenly realised that instead of, I'd missed a verse out, and it's because it's a strict form, I put it away, and I managed to do the final verse this week. So it's the first Aryan of a poem, and it's based on, they had a very avant-garde art exhibition at South Bank, Jeff Coombe doing his Bear with the Policeman, and there was also an amazing live sculpture of a beehive on a head, an actual beehive. There was also this particular model who'd been cast in wax, a naked female cast in wax, and it was so realistic. You could see every inch, and you almost wanted to go out and feel if there was a pulse there. And it was quite voyeuristic in a way. You saw this sort of image that was so real, just lying there. Anyway, the poem's called The Model, and it's a sestina. That's why it took me so long. The Model. I'm not here expecting your seal of approval, neither think that I too should suffer for your art. Such is the life of a model. You may hear me cry out as you start to cast a perfect imprint of my body in hot wax, so accurately that it will bear every pore and hair of my bare flesh. If you can't stand my pain, seal your lips and your ears with wax. I am no wailing siren, nor do I wish you to suffer or see you cast upon the rocks like some model of a wrecked Greek trireme. I am no model of good behaviour, and though I stand utterly bare before you, please don't cast me as a sinner or try to seal my fate, because I will not suffer any further insults. Your own reputation may wax and wane, but as you make me into your new wax doll, do not judge me, nor in comparison make yourself a model citizen who should not suffer criticism, yet secretly enjoys my bare flesh without the need to seal up your mouth about morality. You should cast off your own assessments about sex, age, and caste. Or maybe it's you who needs to light a wax candle, go down on your knees and seek forgiveness before you seal in those prejudices. Some men want to model me into any shape they fancy, vamp, muse, or she-bear. But it's just for your art that I lay here and suffer. I know as the years pass that I must suffer being rejected, being your cast-off, when only fresh, bare bodies of younger women will grace your wax works, when another girl will be your favoured model, another to be your new performing seal. I hardly expect anyone to wax lyrical or to cast their clothes off like me. The bare fact is that wax made me for you to view this year's model. Buy me, seal the deal. Right, that's it. Quite hard to read that one, but it looks better on paper, I may say. Perhaps
Even
not a brilliant
harder to
reader.
write, I would have thought.
Sorry?
Even harder to write.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. That's why it took me 15 years, Martin.
Things, but I've always given up. It's like
Yeah.
trying to write War and Peace, I think.
I know, it's a mathematical problem, Dryden Sestina. Yeah. Oh, well, we're half time, folks. Start us off again, Steve. You did such a good job last time. Can you start us off again?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Right.
This one is called Glasses. I wear my glasses every day as I am long-sighted. I can remember when I was young, the optician said to me when I was 16, I won't be needing glasses till I'm 40. It seemed like an eternity away. But now 40 years later, I'm wearing glasses. It's amazing how life works out. 1 minute you're young, the next you're old. But both myself and wife wear glasses, and we have an eye test every 2 years. Your eyes are a very sensitive part of the body. I can remember once I took my nan to the hospital for her eye test. She had some liquid put into her eyes. The optician told her that the blurredness she experienced would fade. It didn't, and my nan was in a state because she couldn't see. I had to calm her down, and eventually when we reached home, it took another hour before her sight came back. I was delighted for her. She had worked up a state of mind. All I can say to her, Mom, Nan, I told you your eyes would come back. She was very frightened by the experience. And this one's called Letters. Every other day, the postman delivers letter, water, whether it's bills, statements, or other. Sometimes when you open them, they catch your attention. Recently, my wife had several letters come to her for hospital appointments. I get home from church. I get some from charities who I am supporting. I can remember in Birmingham, I posted letters. I was in book clubs and bodybuilding programs. I can't believe the person I am. My interest in many things was incredible. When I became ill and was in hospital, this took away my self-confidence. I can also remember winning £80 on the pools in the late 70s. I marked it for the first time. When I saw I had 8 score draws, 24 points, I was ecstatic, nearly hitting the roof. I said, I still can't believe I did this. It was the lower payer, which was Empire at that time, paid out £80. Liquorwoods, the higher payer, paid out £500 for 24 pints. There was 19 score draws that week. That's why the payout was low. That was my letter. That was one letter I never regretted opening it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. The first poem, it was lovely you were there to reassure your grandma with the eyes going in, you know, the liquid going into her eyes. That was a lovely poem. And the other one was interesting as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Now we're coming on to Lorraine.
Right. I've got one called The Waiting Osmotroph, actually. And that is what is made of the insides of you or something. So it's called Osmotroph, which rhymes with a loaf. And that was when I was corresponding with Arik, when he said he felt very frail and couldn't do much in the house. So anyhow, these are my few verses here. The good God Little knew how to adore, chew, and eat sourdough. You're resolute, craving more to hoard and stow. As an addict, attack it and watch your zeal grow, while your placer's now empty, but your eyes will glow. It's doing a favour. You've no need to savour, even sliced, if you're in good shape and fit. Ensure you consume every crumb with no slaver, but pause, contemplate, and don't down it complete. You'll find yet more strength assaulting the belly of the loaf by piercing the delicious intestine, of the waiting osmotroph. Your muscles and fingers will exert such power, for intense exercising is air that of a plough. All you extract should be vigor and vim. Stabbing the staple, you won't need your gym. Though if absence of a high-tech executor is grim, yet with no electric tool, one dim may stay trim. So that was it. It's when you want to slice at home and you don't have an electric carving knife, and if you have a huge, slow sourdough loaf or something, it takes me ages to do it. But I realize that my arms and my fingers are doing a lot of exercises. I can't get back to the Zoom at the moment. I went into my my poem. There's just one more I will read. It is nothing like that whatsoever. I did it ages ago, and it's about one of my son's favorite friend years ago, and I liked him. I can't even find it now. Hang on. I don't think I found it. No, I've just thrown it on the floor. Oh no, here I am. Yeah, this is absolutely true as well. And it was my son's best friend, and our parents were best friends, and our grandparents were all sorts of things. But this is called Beneath the Felled Column He Now Rests. March 21st is oft welcomed as spring, but since 30 years ago, to some it counts as naught. 3 decades past, you warned your offspring, stay with who you know, don't gamble, just enjoy your sport. Mark was the beloved best friend of closest next of kin. Their fathers were pals and their granddads fought in Europe. Mark was a golden boy, smart, generous, with his wide and warm grin. A postgrad, professional, engaged and ripe for life filled with new hope. For Mark, there was no challenge he could ever resist. He had to know what, where, when and why. He wasn't bothered about black runs on the piste, sailed close to the wind and gave his all a try. The phone rang in Chislehurst from Aspen, Colorado. Mum's Mark thought it was just a hoax. His whole circle knew he was full of bravado, but the caller was not telling jokes. Mark ignored the notice to keep on a sanctioned ski path. He wanted to test and show off his skills. His legacy leaves an heir to grief-stricken aftermath. Some risks let one live. The stray renegade kills, which did happen. Yes, it's a shame. In his mid-20s, and he took no notice of the notice in Colorado. and he died, he was getting engaged, etc. But I always think of that, and yeah, people that you knew and loved, etc. So that's all I've got for the moment.
Thank
I
you.
would like to write more about someone I met yesterday when I had a home delivery, and we had chatted at the door, and this fellow was a home Coldstream guard with a beaver he used to have. He's a retired Coldstream Goldstream thing, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So Tesco must only recruit the very, the elite. It's very funny when somebody delivers my stuff and it turns out to be a Coldstream, well, he has been 9 years, a Coldstream guard. So I will always insist now that I want that sort of delivery. I think.
Wow. Do I
I
detect
get
some
that
romance
too.
in the air, Lorraine?
I can't see it, but I'll get down somehow. Oh, anyhow,
Very good.
June, where is
Thank-
it? It's yeah,
Thank
but
you.
I was fiddling with my laptop about 4 hours. It's a miracle that I found anything wrong with that. I think I'd have to get another thing. Yeah, here we are.
Well, thanks very much, Lorraine. Interesting. Your first poem was interesting about how the body works, the intricacies. Yeah, thanks. Jim, can you unmute, please? Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
I'm unmuted.
Excellent.
Yeah. The first poem I'm going to read is it's called Emerald Isle. It's I saw actually some quick reading. They have like quick talking, quick reading contests in Ireland. You know, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's just like say rap, but it's fast in an Irish accent. Yeah, I'm trying to deliver this in one breath, which is probably going to be a bit difficult. And I mentioned at the end of it a chap called Sean. That's Sean McGowan of the Pogues. I was really well into that at the time. Okay, Emerald Isle. Colleen's Kayla's concupiscence, then confession, Brendan Bayham, Book of Kells, Dublin Gossip, Kiss and Tell, Drinking Guinness in one breath, St James Joyce, Giants Causeway, Georgie Best, Yates O'Casey, Judy O'Grady, GB Shore, and all the rest. Did you know that daily? Because no word for Noah, yes. Dublin, Drinking Druids, Judge, Priest, Patine, Paralysis, Pumps, Faragos, Virgin, Awful Weather, Tears and Laughter, with no good Catholics, could be better. Top of the morning, let's not be coy, Gap to Sean was a breath of a boy. And that's how they do it. So like, I'm surprised it's the best actually. I've read that. I've tried to read it to myself and not managed it. The next one's based on my mother, when she had me, said, told my father to go to the registry office and call him Jim. He went to the registry office and they said, no, Jim it's a nickname. It has to be James. I said, I was told to say Jim, but it's not a nick, blah, blah. So he accepted. So I went down as James and not as Jim. And when he got back, my mother hit the roof for once in a while and just let him have it, you know, I mean, verbal abuse or whatever. So this is based on that. What shall we call you? Call me often, call me easy, call me sexy, call me sleazy, call me leather, call me Sadie, call me Tuesday, call me crazy, call me which way, call me troubles, call me cauldron, call me bubbles. Call me diver, call me fluff, call me headcase, call me muff. Call me Billy, call me Bud, call me Ishmael, call me stud. Call me Ahab, call me sick, call me Moby, call me Dick. Call me Dewdrop, call me funny, call me dipstick, call me honey. Call me has-been, call me beauty, call me drag queen, call me cutie. Call me Hank, call me pretty, call me no job, call me witty. Call me dollar, call me dime, call me mouthwash, call me slime, call me bonehead, call me brains, call me Jim, but don't call me James. And the last poem is about critiquing. It's called In Which My Poem is Critiqued. It's very often in a critiquing situation, people are looking for things to say. Rather than maybe enjoying the poems. Anyhow, so this is in which my poem is critiqued. I prepare to make notes in silence. I really enjoyed your poem, but I'm not sure of the title. Nor me. Me neither. Lovely poem though. Oh yes, they call us. I write this down. Then somebody frowns thoughtfully. But to me, the poem would be so much tighter and more effective if you omitted the first and last verses. Yes, yes, cried the rest, eyes bright and shining. That's a really good idea. I put down my biro, but my lovely poem with the admittedly unsatisfactory title has only got 2 verses. There is silence. Sad, yeah.
Jim, you didn't hear, but I gave a loud but muted wow when you read your Irish poem, which was top of the morning. It was, you know,
I've tried reading that by myself and it's never come out like that. So I think it must be something to do with like the rappers as well. It's something you've got an audience and the adrenaline makes you able to do that.
You'd have to watch it on YouTube. It was excellent. It was very good.
Yeah, I will watch it.
Yeah, your diction's good on that. Yeah,
yeah,
amazing. Right, who are we moving on to? It looks like Anthony. Are you ready for us, Anthony?
Yeah, I got 2 poems. What it's called Aspire.
Right.
Before blurry eyes, every day I write psalms. I could make some plans or cause an accident by chanting religious songs, but Jesus would challenge me and his disciples wouldn't butt in. Their chewed is tired, their blood drawn from their wine. What is there to aspire? And this is called August Spell. The autumn crocuses sway amongst the shadows of the pine trees. The air is resonant with smoke as the buddleia dies down. August, as thick as a mist, blackbird came a-calling about autumn's shortness, sombre yet so lonely. The impending storms ignite the skies, finding an amber talisman to acknowledge the epiphany. August, you are a gust floating downstream. You are about heartfelt loss. Tameness is not spoken.
Well, thank you, Anthony. Could you read that second one, but more slowly, please? Because some lovely lines in that.
The autumn crocuses sway amongst the shadows of the pine trees. The air is resonant with smoke as the buddleia dies down. August is thick as a musk. Blackbird came a-calling about autumn's shortness, sombre yet so lonely. The impending storms ignite the skies, finding an amber talisman to acknowledge the epiphany. August, you are a gust floating downstream. You are about heartfelt loss. Tameness is not spoken.
Very nice poem. Thank you.
I'm just interested, Anthony. Who's your tutor in City Lit? Because I mean, you've improved a lot since.
Yeah, he has, amazingly.
Who's your tutor?
Heather.
Heather?
I forgot her name. She's a poet. I have to come back to you and find out.
Okay, thanks.
Right, not our Heather. Could be, but you're reading that. That's a good point that Jim made, actually.
I've got her name. Her name is called Sarah Westcott.
Right, thanks. Yeah. Okay, I've not actually, I've heard the name, but you know.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I've heard the name as well. Well done, Anthony. Thank you. Martin.
Yeah, okay. One from the Supermarket Elegies, which is number 5, Political Paradigm, and a couple of others. Ignoring demographics now, we seek to be for everyone the shop of choice. Some years ago it was, an inner voice would guide you to your haven. Every week the proper store for persons of your class would welcome you. All you desired would find, and everything promoting peace of mind. Today, look through that acreage of glass at any local branch. Without the name, it's hard detecting difference. Is this society devoid of class? Not quite. Just like those parties who all look the same. A fag paper between them, still invite your vote forever, like brand loyalties. But can we stretch the metaphor again of institutions peddling us dreams? We cannot tell what's real from what just seems, and never learn which promises are vain. Have we become hard, cynical, insane, at once repelled, attracted by those reams of ad men's copy, where the fool's gold gleams, words not for knowledge, but to entertain? Manipulated by such clever brains, they catch our aspirations by their claims to satisfy. No scruple ever stains their smiling faces. In this game, who blames those players who obey their basest thoughts? Facade counts more than substance in these thoughts. And this one is, it's a sonnet actually. This is Man and Superman. They are too real, these myths of celluloid. That Superman is dead, we can't believe. He must have one ace hidden up his sleeve, as we do with our other hero, Freud. For he could fly and always seize the day, if not the world. But falling from his horse, taking 9 years to die, his vital force was slowly dissipated. Shall we say we built our house of dreams upon those clouds which he tore through up on each giant screen? Falling to earth, so cold and hard, we mean to face reality, but can't. Too proud to see why Nietzsche, Zoroaster wrong. God lives and mere man mortal all along. Christopher Reeve, 1952 to 2004.
Wow.
And
yeah,
okay. And a Richard Wilbur, which I have read before. With this I'll sign off. So this is a summer morning. Her young employers, having got in late from seeing friends in town and scraped the right front fender on the gate, will not, the cook expects, be coming down. She makes a quiet breakfast for herself. The coffee pot is bright, the jelly where it should be on the shelf. She breaks an egg into the morning light. Then, with the bread knife lifted, stands and hears the sweet, efficient sounds of thrush and catbird, and the snip of shears where in the terraced backward of the grounds a gardener works before the heat of day. He straightens for a view of the big house ascending stony grey, out of his bed's mosaic with the dew. His young employers having got in late, he and the cook alone receive the morning on their old estate, possessing what the owners can but own.
Thanks very much, Martin. That first supermarket poem, whenever you read it, I always think of the poet as the honest observer, because you pick up so much about society just by, in that poem, there's so many themes and observations. It's very good. Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, it's very honest. It's a good poem. Right, Heather.
Right, this is the poem by Elizabeth Bishop called One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day. Accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones and vaster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I loved. I shan't have lived. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like disaster.
Thank you, Heather. It's a lovely poem. That is very
It is that.
clever. It's very clever. Yeah. Understated, but clever. Jan, have you got another one for us at all? Or you?
I'm sorry, I haven't. No.
Okay, that's fine. So thank you. Ted, it's your turn again. Going through the archives. You're muted. You're very quiet, Ted. Very, very quiet, Ted. That's it.
I'm a quiet person. I've actually, whilst you've been talking, I've read 3 poems without words.
I've never described you as quiet, Ted.
Just nor would a lot of other people. It's the excitement of having people to talk to. A small death. It was a small death, but to her, an important one. Her first, pirate, a hamster. Her innocent curiosity, wanting to see and touch it. Excuse me. I thanked it for letting us feed it, and for the pleasure it gave us. She thanked it for biting us. These were our prayers. She watched with her sister as her brother buried it in its plastic room-cum coffin, allowing her to hand earth over it. We explained it was her brother's pet, so it was his right to bury it. Waylaying her tears with the promise to bury Speedy when she died. I love them. Right. Fish and chips. Eating fish and chips and saveloys on the pier, you point to the fat lady in a t-shirt. Acting adult, you go to ask the man for red sauce, but he can't see you below the counter. Saving your pride, Mum points you out and together you collect sachets. On the beach, you're in the water in a flash, proclaiming you can swim. I try to discourage you, knowing that you can't swim. And for me, the North Sea in May is cold. Fascinated by starfish, we test them for life, discouraging you from taking them home, diverting you to stones. The parking fine is no compensation for letting you stick the ticket to the windscreen. You sleep all the way home. Right. If I could just do a couple of little ones. A little one for George, maybe. It's called Treacle Delight. Sliding down the slopes of the bomb crater was better now. It was full of dumped oil, black ice in summer. Our trays and tin sheets swept onto the treacle lake. Ignoring the toppy-nosed calls from the older boys, we knew better, hauling ourselves back to dry land with ropes and branches to the banks ran black with joy. Crude spreads quickly over shoes and socks, trousers, jumpers and hands, and slick grins don't convince parents of tales of licorice lakes and chocolate ponds. I can remember doing it all. And you have this childish idea that although there was this very shallow lake of crude oil, obviously, and you somehow believe that if it gets on your hands and you wipe it in your clothes, your hands are clean and that's all right.
us London kids
Yeah,
getting towards our
that's
80s.
the
Remember
one.
playing on the bomb sites? Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, have any of you lot got brothers and sisters?
Yes,
Yeah.
two
Brothers,
sisters.
brothers. Okay, we used to make campsites over the wasteland. Brotherly, this is from a whole series of poems called The Wasteland. Eat Your Heart Out, T.S. Eliot. Brotherly love. You could tell Mickey and David were brothers. We'd scour the wasteland for old oil drums, water tanks and sheet metal to build camps. They'd argue, then fight and wreck their camp. We'd change partners, rebuild using their bits in our new camps. They would argue and fight and then wreck both camps. Oh, I love it.
Thank you, Ted.
That'll do you. That'll do.
Yeah. The things children say, you know, I've probably told you this before, but I remember when my oldest daughter was little, she was throwing these Smarties out of the window in my van.
Go
And I
on.
said, Claire, stop throwing your sweets away. She said, I'm not, Daddy, I'm feeding the wind. And I thought,
I love
and
it.
then all of a sudden we go, Dad, stop. I said, what's the matter? The ducks are doing handstands.
Oh, yes. Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, the things children say. Anyway, Lorraine, did we come back to you for part 2, or I can't remember?
Yes, you did.
We did. Okay, thank you. I don't want to miss anyone out. So it's down to Peter and I then, I think.
Right. I'm going to read a couple of poems by Charlotte Mew, who died in 1928. She committed suicide. The Farmer's Bride. 3 summers since I chose a maid, too young maybe, but more's to do at harvest time than abide and woo. When us was wed, she turned afraid of love and me and all things human. Like the shut of winter's day, her smile went out. And 'twasn't a woman, more like a little frightened fay. One night in the fall she runned away. Out among the sheep her be, they said. Should properly have been abed, but sure enough she wasn't there, lying awake with her wide brown stare. So over 7-acre field and up along across the down we chased her, flying like a hare before our lanterns, to Churchtown, all in a shiver and a scare. We caught her, fetched her home at last and turned the key upon her fast. She does the work about the house as well as most, but like a mouse. Happy enough to chat and play with birds and rabbits and such as they, so long as menfolk keep away. Not near her eyes beseech, when one of us comes within reach. The woman say that beasts in stall look round like children at her call. I've hardly heard her speak at all. Shy as a leveret, swift as he, straight and slight as a young larch tree, sweet as the first wild violets she to her wild self, but what to me? The short days shorten and the oaks are brown, the blue smoke rises to the low grey sky. One leaf in the still air falls slowly down. A magpie's spotted feathers lie on the black earth spread white with rime. The berries redden up to Christmas time. What's Christmas time without there be some other in the house than we? She sleeps up in the attic there, alone, poor maid. 'Tis but a stair betwixt us. Oh my God, the down, the soft young down of her, the brown of her eyes, her hair.
Lovely.
Yeah. And I several marks. Yes. I so like spring. I so like spring last year because you were here, the thrushes too, because it was these you so like to hear. I so liked you. This year's a different thing. I'll not think of you, but I like the spring because it is simply spring, as the thrushes do. That's Charlotte Mew.
What's a tragedy that such a beautiful lyrical poet should take her own life? It's
And
You
she,
know.
she swallowed bleach, so she must have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
absolute agony. To her.
Horrible way to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of women who've been abused do that, actually. You know, talking about which, Sharon Olds, she's written this beautiful poem here called The Victims. Well, it's not beautiful, but it's kind of what happens in life. The Victims. When mother divorced you, we were glad. She took it and took it in silence all those years, and then kicked you out suddenly, and her kids loved it. Then you were fired, and we grinned inside the way people grinned when Nixon's helicopter lifted off the South Lawn for the last time. We were tickled to think of your office taken away, your secretaries taken away, your lunches with 3 double bourbons, your pencils, your reams of paper. Would they take your suits back too? Those dark carcasses hung in the closet, and the black noses of your shoes with those large paws. She had taught us to take it, to hate you and take it, until we pricked with her for your annihilation. Father, now I pass the bums in doorways, the white slugs of their bodies gleaming through slits in their suits of compressed silt, the stained flippers of their hands, the underwater fire of their eyes, ships gone down with the lanterns lit. And I wonder who took it, and who took it from them in silence until they had given it all away and had nothing left but this. Well, that's a really upset child there.
I remember Sharon Olds, actually. She
Yeah.
wrote that poem called Daddy, Daddy, I Hate You, or something like that. It's
Yeah,
really,
absolutely. She obviously had a time of it, I think, Jim.
yeah, great poet, actually, but I think she just went a bit over the top at times.
Well, aren't we all? Anyway, early reminiscing, this is one of mine. To start at the start of day, when the night has yet to retire, sorry, be a good idea to put my glasses on, really, if I can find them.
I've got them.
You've got them, have you, Ted?
Right.
Right.
That
Right,
tells
here
me
we
that
go.
I'm not muted.
Right, to start at the start of day, when night has yet to retire, is the time to be alive on earth. When thoughts rise ever higher, the choking fumes of the city have yet to cloy the lung, and a far-off call convinces me there's a nightingale just sung. The roaring sound of traffic has yet to have its say, and though it be high summer, the air has the scent of May. There might be one thing missing as grey pigeons flutter past. It's the softness of a parting kissing. Such gifts aren't built to last. And this is called A Pond Full of Night Dreams. The moon is underwater. Oh, how can that be? My tears were left at the altar like the love you promised me. The stars are not for catching. No night can last that long. The dark clouds arrive for dispatching any light that may come along. The moon will change its shape if I wait here long enough till my neck cricks at the nape. It can't re-silver your rebuff. The moon is underwater, an illusion no one taught her. Anyway, that's it. Well, thank you all. Another lovely evening.
Thank you, George.
Yeah,
Thank
it's been
you.
good. It's always good, isn't it? I just love, I love all the poetry meetings, and I've learned to love the Zoom.